It's that Feel Good Friday. Feel Good Friday. Feel Good Friday. The GMP.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show at GMP. Hey, GuMPers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast for Feel Good Friday. This, the 27th of September. September's nearly over. Oh my God, where is it going? How are you this morning? Let's have a nice, easygoing Feel Good Friday, shall we? Got a bit of these sort of vibes. Oh, no, I won this one.
It's that Feel Good Friday.
Thank you. Where's the other one gone, Owen? It's Feel Good Friday. Whoa! We must have that somewhere. And yes, we've got other jingles to work on as well, haven't we? I've just been reminded about that. Thank you very much to you and T-Duck for laying down some, are they called stubs in the trade? And we'll mix them up together and we'll have some new jingles soon, I think. Thank you to you gentlemen for your hard work in that department. Right, how is everyone doing? How's your week been? How are you preparing for the weekend? Some of us are heading to Castaneo de Pera tomorrow to Pete Wilton Davies. Not just Pete. I mean, there's a big team that's involved in that, but Pete is the focal point, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Pete. And I think I'll write about the beer festival tomorrow for the Portugal residents. So if you want to come along and have your photo taken and maybe be in the paper, come and join us in Castaneo de Pera tomorrow. And yeah, a few events today to speak of. This is certainly one of them. The Cerveja na Aldeia Festa tomorrow in Aldeia de Pera. Pera is the small village on the outskirts or the inskirts maybe of Castaneo de Pera in general, the bigger town that we've spoken about with Gary Orgles, for example, with Pete and with Stephen White more recently. Right, so much to share with you this morning, but we'll do it in a nice, fun and upbeat way and a Feel Good Friday kind of way, putting the sex into sexta-feira this morning. Yeah, let us know how you're doing in the chat. And let's recap on the week as well. I mean, if I put our homepage of Good Morning Portugal on the screen there, you'll see, let me remind you that the Portuguese point of interest was Setúbal this week. The treat of the week was the Maria biscuit. Now, I had hoped to have a packet of Marias here, and when Mrs. M brings me a cup of tea or coffee, I was going to dip my Maria biscuits in there. Not a euphemism. And that hasn't happened, so we'll have to carry that forward to next week. We'll have a different treat of the week. We'll have a different Portuguese point of interest next week. I think it's going to be Tamar, because the webinar, the ladies from Tamar last night were fantastic. And I'll play you their promotional film for Tamar as a taster of what's to come next week. So we'll talk more about the Bolacha de Maria and the Bolo de Bolacha made from Maria biscuits. We'll play another Setúbal video. We'll have a look at the Portuguese property of the week, which is Paul Rees, rural properties. No, what they call, yes, ruralproperties.com. And the property over at Val do Rio in Figueiras dos Vinhos, a mere 78,000 euros. You can still get fantastic value in central Portugal. And the car of the week was the Fiat 500. If you've taken a close look at the intro sequence, you'll have seen it's the Fiat 500, the electric 500, which has really come on a long way, hasn't it, from its being the equivalent of the Mini, the Italian Mini, basically. It is now an electric car and very nicely styled, as you might expect from an Italian car. So I think what we're going to do, though, is talk more. I mean, the video is there to be seen on the homepage. We'll talk a little bit more about the boss, the Fiat boss, the Uber boss of Fiat. I believe the Fiat company is now owned by Stellantis, or held by Stellantis, who we spoke about briefly with Colin yesterday. And the CEO is a Portuguese man, and I want to talk a little bit more about him, especially his pay package, which stands out. Although he's in a little bit of trouble and feeling the heat because the performance isn't there, it would appear. Back in February of, actually, it was February of this year, his pay package jumped 56%. Unlike many other people's pay packages, and I don't say this in an envious way. I just think it's fascinating. 39.5 million was his total annual pay package. And the funny thing about that is his job's on the line at the moment. And as I was joking with Colin yesterday, he may be available to join us on the show soon if things don't go his way. He's not got the performance that he wanted and his board members and his shareholders wanted. So he may be saying goodbye to that 39.5 million. But a little bit of his backstory as well, if we've got the time to cover that. Hopefully we'll have Colleen. Colleen would ordinarily be with us on a fourth Friday of the month. She's on tour on the road this morning, and she suggested she might send us a message. So if she sends us a message, we'll play that to you. And lots of other snippets and bits and pieces this morning as we make our way towards the weekend. And a bon fin de semana. Off to drama class tonight. Okay, actually, or metaphorically there. Been busy this week, says Pam, working and going on guided walks run by the camera. Isn't this a great country for that? Really informative. You lived there for a little while in Alcobaça, and you were obviously still finding things out after a few years here in Portugal. We've been here for 7 years pretty much to the day, and we still find out wonderful things most days, actually, about the country. Great to find out more about Tamar. I know that you and this family and you, Pam, originally were in the Tamar area. It was great to connect with a couple of the ladies from the Câmara Municipal of Tamar as well. So I'll play a promotional video from them as well. James is here this morning. Bom dia, GuMPers. Feliz sexta a todos. Como estão? Tudo bem? And the latest issue of An Old Guy in Europe is up and ready, fresh out the kitchen over at YouTube there. Let us know, James, what you're focusing on this week, if you will, please, in the chat. And there's a God Squad tip of the day. We did have the video that has been sent in by the coach illustrating the points he was making earlier on this week, and that's up on GMP TV, which I see a few people have watched as well, and I'll stick that up in the Portugal Club, where the rest of the program is as well. If you want to embark on the God Squad program, you can do that at any time and just download it as a Portugal Club member and go through it step by step, and you can get daily support here on the screen from Coach Turner, obviously. Bom dia todos. A feliz sexta-feira, he says. All I'm going to say is that Marty Pello is visiting. Can you feel it in your fingers and in your toes? I think that is that's a rain reference, which eludes me for the moment. Can you help me with that, anybody else? And we'll come back to your God Squad tip of the day a little bit later on. Thanks for these, Coach. Much appreciated. Bon dia todos from Antonio F. And good to see you, Antonio. Thank you for your continued work in the Portugal Club and here every day as well. Much appreciated. Deagle, morning all from Owen, who you've heard already this morning. And bon dia, Carl GuMPers, from a fresh 9-degree Belfast blue skies. That will do, says Deagle, for this weekend. And you think the best jingle was the whistle song? Yeah, it was catchy, wasn't it? But it's not mine to play. And I notice on all the old videos and now I'm getting copyright warnings because it was Pete, actually. Pete, who's putting together the Castanheira de Pera Beer Festival, the guiding light of that this weekend. And yes, shout out to all the rest of the team who are making that possible. It was Pete who put together the early opening sequence for Good Morning Portugal, in actual fact. And he chose that whistle music, which is great. I agree with you. But we don't own it in the same way that we had the current tune gifted to us by the amazing Warren Sharma. We haven't heard from for a while, which reminds me I must get in touch with Warren and see how he's doing. Busy week then, yes. You went on your guided walks run by the camera. Most cameras have these, don't they, Pam? And you can find out more details if you go to CM, the Câmara Municipal. Basically, a lot of the websites or the web addresses are the same. As we'll find out, I think we may visit the Setúbal one and perhaps the Tamar one as well this morning. But you can find out that sort of information about guided walks, which tend to start outside the Câmara Municipal, funnily enough. Really, really good thing about being in Portugal, that, and a really good service offered, well, from the taxes that you pay. Barracks here Olá, bom dia from Lord and Lady Travancar in central Portugal as well. September, for me, is a time for reassessing my schedule. That makes sense, doesn't it? There's a definite changing of pace, changing of weather. It's become so still and quiet here in San Martino de Porto, for example. The tourists have gone home pretty much. And as I walked the dogs in the lane at night, it was a beautiful, clear sky last night. I could see the night sky. It was so peaceful and so quiet. So yeah, that's a great idea, Pam. A time for looking inward and reassessing things and calming down a little bit. One of the guided walks was in San Martino de Porto, but I didn't do that one. Well, if you do it again, Pam, let me know and I'll come along and join you if you don't mind. Jackie also in this morning, Bon dia GuMPers from a very rainy Grand Union Canal in Hertfordshire. How about that? Very good. Morning to you, Jackie. And this week's, I see you next Tuesday, so to speak. Are you going to join us again for another expat Euro news? And maybe, I don't know, it may not happen. We'll try and stick a little bit more to this. Well, there isn't a script, but we hopefully won't cover as many points as we did last Tuesday. But when me and the Portuguese get together, we tend to drift. We maybe need somebody like James there to chair us in that discussion. This week's Old Guy in Europe is the photo album of my first trip to, it's a slideshow, very nice, in Ireland with Canny and Honk. Very good. Joan is here as well, Joan van Groningen. How are you, Joan? Bon dia todos. And Antonio F, a message for us. Good morning, Portugal. He says, 214 years ago, on this day, Lord Wellington, yes, all rise, commanding the Portuguese and British troops, defeated the French troops in the Battle of Busaco, leading to the French army's retreat there. Well, excellent. Well done, chaps. Keep it up. And Lord Wellington, that was Wellesley, wasn't it, who lived at the notable address of number 1 London, which if you catch a double-decker bus, a red double-decker bus, and drive around Boudicca's statue there at Hyde Park Corner? Yes, Hyde Park Corner, not Marble Arch. You'll see his house, number 1 London. So happy times, 214 years ago. Not if you're a French, a member of the French army, though, of course. The great British and Portuguese relationship right there. Thank you very much for that memory, Antonio F. And that ended the third and last French invasion of Portugal. Good. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Different kind of French invasion these days. In the summer, all the Portuguese people who live in France come back, don't they? That's the only French invasion, thankfully, we have these days. Is there a drama queen in that class? I'm guessing you couldn't possibly say. Bon dia from Montana. Hello, good morning to you, OLP. How long now till you join us? And we rose, or the coach rose to the occasion of giving you pre-Portugal training. I hope you picked up on a few of those, OLP. We did that especially for you. Yes, please, Carl, do the Euro news with our Tony. It was so funny. You guys bounce off each other perfectly. Ooh, misses. Great team. Yeah, we had a good time. And I think that's only going to get better over there, especially if we get a little bit more focused. Right. Don't worry about the typos. Never apologize, Antonio. Jacqueline Branco, good morning from Gairas. Good morning to you, Jacqueline. Dia de chuva e tão belo como dia de sol. Ambos existem, cada como é. From Fernando Pessoa. How about that? A Pessoa quote, which I'm not going to. I could if I wanted to, but I'm not going to translate. I'm going to leave that to you on the screen as a bit of homework, if you don't mind. How about you put your mind to that if you're learning Portuguese? I've got enough on my hands right now. I'm trying to run a morning show here. Perhaps you could address that and give that a little bit of a translation. And we will share, we'll let the words of Fernando Pessoa resonate throughout the morning and into the weekend. Lord Wellington is the namesake for my middle name. Are you James Wellington Holly? If I wasn't so fond of Old Guy in Europe, the OG, I might change my handle here. Is your name Wellington or is it Arthur? In the middle there. How is the country recovering from the fires? Well, it's very damp and wet now, and I've got something really beautiful to play you now that came from the Dream Team session last night. This shows you how we're recovering from the fires. There was loss of life, sadly, and property. It was a terrible week for Portugal, has to be said. And now it's wet and damp, and the ground has been cried upon by the divine forces. So thankfully, it's wet now, a little chance of fire, and it was dealt with. Well, it was quite the challenge, but ultimately dealt with by the Bomberos. Thanks for asking, OLP. And here's a lovely story that came out of those ashes, literally. Came this beautiful story that Nunu shared with us last night on the Dream Team session, which as ever was superb. Not only was the Tamar presentation really good, so was the Dream Team session, and it climaxed with this, which is a lovely Feel Good Friday, or has a lovely Feel Good Friday vibe about it. So over to Nuno in just a moment after this is uploaded, and you'll see exactly how, in part at least, we are recovering from the fires that we had here in Portugal. Oh, this is taking a while to process. I wonder why. There's a lot of love in this video. While we're waiting for that to process, and make sure that that happens on the screen there, you may have seen, if you were here earlier on, your Roman name. I've not seen this before. I've seen, you know, various names, your blues singer name, and so on and so forth. Your Roman name, apparently, is the last thing you ate with ius added at the end, which reminded me of the fantastic Monty Python sketch from Life of Brian, the Biggest Dickus sketch, which is absolutely hilarious. We watched that with our eldest. Oh, and talking of my eldest, I'll bring the conversational arc back round, I promise. My eldest sent me a message. Well, in fact, yeah, let me read the message first. And we'll come back to your Roman name in just a moment. But perhaps you could start. In fact, no, let's resolve that first before we talk about my eldest, who actually enjoyed the Monty Python sketch. This doesn't work so well for me this morning. And hasn't that Roman centurion got hairy arms? Anyway, I think Peanut Butterius is not a very good Roman name. I don't think that works terribly well. Peanut Butterius or Pinutius Butterius Maximus. It's not brilliant, is it? What's your Roman name according to that? Right. Okay. Back to my eldest then, and let's get that off the screen for the moment. I have a memo, a family memo here, and this is. Oh, I've lost it. Some say I never had it. Oh, here it is. I tried to make syrup, says my son, my eldest son, but I think it turned into booze, and I think it's fitting that you try it. Love, Digby. And not only does he want me to try it, he wants me to try it on air this morning. Now, is this a Feel Good Friday thing to do? We did have a a guide to, what was it? Was it responsible drinking? And this was the doc, wasn't it, last Wednesday, who said responsible drinking is drinking that doesn't hurt you or the people around you. Fair enough. So I think that's a fair enough description. You'll see he wanted to make grapefruit syrup. He made fantastic. Owen, you'd be proud of him. Digby made Digby fried chicken last night and made a fantastic breadcrumb coating, and it was delicious. He also tried to make earlier in the week grapefruit syrup. He likes grapefruits and he wanted to make a syrup. I don't exactly know why. Maybe for salad dressing or as a cordial. Anyway, it got left on the windowsill, and then when he popped the lid on it, it had quite the boozy aroma. And who did he think of immediately? Dad will try that, so maybe I will. The best brew. And he's put sub here on the top because he wants you to subscribe. He's got his own YouTube channel, by the way, and he wants you to subscribe to this one. So maybe I should make it that if I get 5 subscribers, I'll down it. I don't think I should drink all of that. And if I just, this is a lovely sound. He was saying this. He said the sound of the stopper is so great. Check it out. Isn't that lovely? Oh, a genie. Wow, certainly a spirit. And it smells fantastic. It smells very boozy. So I may have a little bit of a sip of that later on to toast the incoming weekend. Have you got your Roman name sorted out? Okay, here, let's see if the clip is ready from Nuno. This is a very sweet moment last night. We began by talking about what should be added to the Portuguese citizenship. It's not really a test, but the criteria for becoming a Portuguese national. And of course, you have to speak a level of Portuguese and you have to have been here for 5 years. It's not very, well, it's onerous in the linguistic sense, some might say, but 5 years isn't too bad. And there isn't a great ceremony. There's no cultural, historical exam to pass, although you may cover some of that in your language studies. And it was a very interesting set of responses. You know, what should happen, what should be added. And Nuno connected this. I think you should be supporting a certain football team to become a citizen. I think you'll feel that after watching this. Thanks, everybody, for your questions over here on Zoom and on YouTube. Over to you, Nuno.
So I have 2 videos. Remember that short videos, very short videos. So remember that this is a love story and it's about culture that you need to know about Portugal. Okay. Let me. Okay. Here I. Okay.
Oh, excellent. Got it.
Algo parcialmente No meio das cinzas, cada resgata o que pode. O ânimo encontra-se, mesmo na tragédia.
Se for coisas que aproveitaram, se aproveitou. Ao contrário, olha.
Salvou o seu Sporting.
Ai, meu Sporting. Ainda está ali. Está ali.
So the club has invited her for the first time to go to the stadium, and they start raising money to rebuild her house.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, so this is something that you can find in Portugal. That is a supportive system. So I'm laughing with this story, okay,
Yes.
but it has also a good story behind. So luckily, we expect that she will get a brand new house after raising the money that she
A
needs.
lovely story. Fantastic. Fantastic.
So
So she saved her sporting plates and tiles.
Exactly.
Absolutely wonderful. Have you got another one?
Yeah, and this is in the stadium. So she was invited with the coach, the sporting coach,
Oh, my word.
last Sunday.
I'm not crying. You are.
Now look how happy
Yes.
she is.
Yes.
She was.
Amazing. Amazing. That is so lovely. So obviously, Nunu, the right thing to do as part of citizenship is to be a sporting fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An important point.
It's as simple as that. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. And what a lovely note to end on this evening. Beautiful, beautiful. That is so Portuguese as well. Thank you. Isn't that great? She's in her 80s. Her house is pretty much destroyed by the look of it. And the things she saved on her way out were her, among a couple of other things, her Sporting Lisbon tiles and plates there. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention last night, Nuno, on the Dream Team session with Expats Portugal last night. Absolutely wonderful. So it is important to choose a football team here, and you might be influenced there to follow Sporting as a result of seeing that. But how lovely for her. You know, one day there she is sitting in the ashes of her home, having salvaged just a couple of things, including those sporting pieces of memorabilia. And then a few days later, she's in the ground, and she looks like she's going to have a home rebuilt from a whip round from the fans at Sporting. Isn't that wonderful? Cheers, Nuno. I think you'll like that. That is absolutely lovely, says Pete. Alfred is checks on all the elder members of the community, and we have a 100th birthday party tonight. That's superb, isn't it? So, did you figure out what to buy the centenarian? Not Centurion. That's the other thread that's running this morning. So nice to be somewhere the elderly aren't shut away and ignored. Isn't that fantastic? Cheers, Pete, for that. Good morning to you. And I listened, staying with the fires for a moment, I listened to a Portuguese woman who praised the firefighters, the bombeiros. Yeah, can't spell the other name, but was ashamed of how little they are paid, and the volunteers only make 30 euros a day. Yes, indeed, they are community volunteers, and they get paid in active service, I think, of just a few euros an hour. Talking of being paid a few euros an hour, thank you very much, Tom Smith, who brought to our attention the fact that IMA want to be paying or have offered lawyers $750 to process the backlogs, backlog cases that are pending for residency. Not 750, 7.50, 7.50 € for looking at a case. And both Gilda, of course, and Daniel last night, both lawyers, found that a little bit insulting, as you might imagine and agree. Isn't that incredible? But I think some lawyers have picked up on that and are happy to make the money on that. Better than nothing, some might say. Although Daniel was saying nothing would be better. Many lawyers might do it pro bono to help, but some stepped away, having been offered 7.50, 7.50 per case. That's right. Antonio saw that as well. Unbelievable. And you can be forgiven for thinking, 750. I'll do it as a lawyer. I'll do that for 750 and see the case through. Everyone in Portugal is a lawyer. What's this, Pete? Nice to see them getting paid what they're worth. Oh, you are naughty, Peter. Good morning to you, Greg, as well. Carl, you're making me get a beverage. I hope you're getting some grapefruit liqueur like me this morning. Very Portuguese, of course. A little sniff day, a cheirinho this morning. It's hard to believe that I've been listening to your show for about 4 years. Wow, Greg. Where does the time fly? Yeah, it's the 27th of September already in 2024. Have a great weekend. Cheers, Greg. Lots of love to you, Amy and Starbuck this morning as well. Pete's got some good weather. Beautiful day. I'm looking for some of that tomorrow when we head over to the beer festival over there. So there we go. Thank you, Nuno, for that. That was really brilliant. And yeah, love you, Portugal. What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the sea? I think that's got a... Oh, you are so naughty, Peter. I'll let others read that out from the screen. No Roman names yet. What did you have for breakfast, Pete? And what would that turn into as a Roman name? Thanks, Antonio. I didn't want to screw up the name. Yeah, that'll be Bomberos. Thank you for that, Antonio. The firefighters in English and American, of course, and Bomberos here in Portugal. Superb. Right, so where were we? I think we should stay with Central Portugal and have a look now at our property of the week. And you'll see, I don't know if you've picked up on this yet, but if you look closely at the opening sequence now, it changes every week, and we have our Portuguese point of interest. We have our Portuguese treat of the week, which is the Maria biscuit this week, and we are going to look at a soggy biscuit recipe. Peter will be giggling already about that. And we've got a car of the week, and this, the property of the week. So let's have a little bit of a look at it for this week, and we're very grateful to Paul Rees over at Rural Properties, and I'll put the link to the this excellent special property and incredibly good value property into the chat as we speak as well. So yeah, we're at Rural Properties or rural-properties.com. Thanks to Paul. The link is going into the chat now, and let's have a little bit of a look round, shall we, at this delightful property. You might imagine when they're done to the specification that Paul and company do them to, that they'll be a lot more expensive than this. This is fantastic value. Discover exceptional value for money, he says, at this beautifully renovated 2-bedroom cottage in the quiet village of Val de Rio. Some of our community here will know that place, I'm sure. Maybe Marcus will. Bill sent in some lovely photos this morning of the rally and veggies from our neighbour's garden as well. That's so Portuguese too. We'll come back to those. But this is Val de Rio, located at the top of a valley that descends to the famous Zézer River and nearby River Beach and leisure area. Spacious. We'll have a look at the pictures in just a minute. Spacious living dining room with a pellet burner for heating, leading to a modern, well-equipped kitchen. The cottage has an outside storage room with a new water heater. On the first floor, accessible via an interior spiral staircase, there are 2 spacious bedrooms, a bathroom, and a terrace overlooking the valley. We'll get a picture of that too. The property has a complete upgrade with new loft insulation, new plumbing, and has been repainted inside and out. The handmade spiral staircase takes you to the upper landing, off which are 2 bright, airy bedrooms with original wooden windows and shutters. The new bathroom includes toilet, sink, shower, no bidet, heated towel rail, extractor fan, and press-to-light mirror. Ooh, yeah, you don't have to have a bidet anymore. That used to be the law here. From the chapel square, there are popular walks down to the Zézer River, and along to the valley, and a magnificent waterfall located 6 kilometers. That's 10 minutes drive from the council town of Figueira dos Vinhos. And the cottage is near to town shops, healthcare, and public services. It's located 1 hour 40 from Lisbon, 40 minutes from Coimbra. This is the ideal place for a holiday property, a rental property, or a quiet countryside home, as you can see from the delightful picture there. And let's have a little walk around, shall we? The interior. Very nice from the outside in a traditional whitewash with yellow window frames. And what's that? That's not the skirting of the house, is it? There's probably a technical name for that, but beautifully detailed in yellow there. And that is my favorite picture of this property. Looking down the street with the property on the left there, that is such a Portuguese scene there, isn't it? Including the blue plastic water butt on the other side of the street. Nice kitchen, as you heard, with that spiral staircase that's been specially made for the project here. Isn't that fabulous? Very nice place. Would make a lovely holiday home. There's your pellet burner. And although a nice place to live in the countryside, if 2 bedrooms are enough for you, this is ideal, isn't it? And you'll get to see, look, lovely sanded wooden floors. You'll get to see the view out over into the valley as well. Nice modern new bathroom and walk-in shower there. And there you go. There's your view of the valley. Isn't that lovely? Fabulous. And a little detail of the sanding of the wood there, of those beautiful renovated wooden floors. And there's your valley. Great job. There's an aerial view of the property. Wonderful work there, Paul and team. And that is our Good Morning Portugal property of the week right there at 78,000 euros. That, I'm sure you'll agree, is a bit of a bargain and a lovely place to find a bit of peace in the Portuguese countryside. Wonderful. OLP oncoming. Oncoming. Now we are hesitant on how the infrastructure has been affected by the fires. Well, you wouldn't know, basically. Things have moved on in the countryside. Obviously, it's been devastating for some people whose lives will be affected and they'll still be dealing with it. But for the rest of the country and the infrastructure, you wouldn't really know that we'd had those fires, which is an amazing thing, really. I'm sure if you drive near Albuquerque and the affected areas in the Aveiro district, you'll see the devastation. But you in many other parts of the country, you'd absolutely not know. So I wouldn't let, I mean, I don't know if others agree here, but I wouldn't let that put you off OLP. And if it's affecting your thoughts about living in Portugal and central Portugal, you know, that you bear that in mind. Wildfires are a part of life here in Portugal, and some areas obviously are more affected than others with the type of vegetation and the approach from the local authority and that sort of thing. So ask around from that point of view. Here where we live, we were very it was barely noticeable. There was some sort of air pollution, and that was obvious. And the skies were very different for a few days. The sun was obscured to some extent, but here with our Atlantic breeze, it cleared very quickly. So Silver Coast I think is a very safe place to live in with regard to the wildfires. And it is a balance you strike when you live in more in greener areas. I'll put it like that. I don't know what others think. Please comment in the chat. So that was our delightful property of the week. Let's talk a little bit about. We're not going to talk very much about the car. Suffice to say that the Fiat 500 electric is a beautiful vehicle, and we also I want to mention as well that we have a relationship with Benacar, Benacar.pt, and if they'll look after you. Say you're from Good Morning Portugal, if you're looking for a vehicle, their after sales service is legendary. They have a cafe in the showroom. They have thousands of cars. It's quite the extraordinary place where Colin and I broadcast from a little while ago. And there's an example of a Fiat 500 for you there if you want to check out Benacar. And let them know that we sent you. And also Benny Rent, or B Rent, I think they call it. We also are able to get you a 10% discount at B Rent as well. So obviously mention that you've come from Good Morning Portugal there. And I think we've got a GMP10, I think is the code you need. But I mean, reach out to me if you're looking to rent a car and you want 10% off and you want to work with Benacar. I'll put the link to them as well. It's also on our website under services. I'll find it for you now so you can actually see what we're talking about there. But I was really impressed by Benacar when we went over there. And they are not the cheapest cars. They build in the service and the after sales care and service. And it's interesting. Once people have converted, it's like they're customers for life. So you get what you pay for, basically. It's not like one of the stands along the highway where you're going to get a bargain and then wonder if you've been stung in some way. This is a very reputable service. It's like nothing else I've ever seen in terms of buying a car. You go in there and it's like you're looking around an art gallery, and they've got a car museum in there as well, and they've got the cafe, as I say. And it seems that people convert to being customers for life once they've joined the car cult that is Benacar. And let me show you also on the tabs on the website where you can rent as well. So if you go to our website, goodmorningportugal.com, click on the support services, and you'll see currency exchange, of course, which Spartan will help you with. Buying and renting a home, those are all the listings of the houses and homes that we recommend and suggest to you, put forward on a weekly basis. Buy a car through Benacar, and then new is rent a car as well. Yeah, GMPT 10 is the code you need for a 10% discount. I'm trusting you can see that on the screen there. Yes, you can. So let me put the link to that as well. Zest are also very good. I've enjoyed using Zest. We recommend them too. And B Rent as well have an amazing range of vehicles. And looking forward to the feedback that will. I've heard good third-party feedback about BeRent, but not from a GuMPer yet because we're new to them. We don't have those testimonials yet. So if you do use them, let us know how you get on. That'll be a real service to us as well. Excellent. Okay, so that's our home and our motor. Just wanted to add a little bit more on the motoring front here. Stellantis. This was a surprise to me to discover that there's just a handful of holding companies who own most of the car brands in the car production of the Western world now. Obviously not including Chinese production, which I think is going to be changing the game in the future. For now, though, over here in Europe, and I believe in the United States as well, we've got Stellantis, who are the umbrella company for Fiat, whose 500 you just saw. And their chief exec is a Portuguese fella. His name is Carlos Tavares. I believe he was a good friend of the former PM Socrates. And here he is. This is news earlier this year of his pay package. This is what you get paid when you run a car company, basically. And here he is. There's a picture of him. That is Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares holding a press conference earlier this year. And he received 23.5 million euros in cash and vested equity. His payments include 10 million euros as a transformation bonus. They might be asking for that back, given the way things have gone subsequently. His package also includes 13 million euros in a deferred incentive, which again, there might be some doubt about that now, and his average employee earnings. In fact, talking of Socrates, wasn't there a Socrates or a Platonic formula that predicted that if the wages of the shop floor went beyond a certain factor, that would spelt very bad news for any particular civilization? This looks like that, quite frankly. Average employee earnings were 70,404 euros, and they were up 9.4%. So that's great. The Portuguese leader getting the wages up for his workforce there. And yeah, look at that. A total package there of 13.5 million euros for the Portuguese leader, Carlos Tavares, of the Stellantis group there, which was brought to my attention by Colin. Stellantis, which owns brands including Chrysler, Jeep, and Fiat, said it led the industry in financial performance in the first half of 2023. I don't think it's gone so well subsequently, as Colin was telling us yesterday. The Jeep has been a real lemon, I believe. So there you go. That is Carlos Tavares, notable Portuguese fella, and currently, only just by the sound of it, CEO of Stellantis. Do you pick them up at the airport? Yes, BeRent and Zest. I would recommend getting a quote from both. BeRent you can pick up from the airport, as you can definitely from Zest. I used to, not using the airport, I would go to the airport anyway and pick up my rental cars. And they've also got a pickup point in Orient as well, have Zest. So, yeah, if you want any help with that, I will. Please just give me, you know where I am, 913-590-303. Cakes, the bolo de bolachas. This is the cake made from the Maria biscuit. And I'm going to share with you a recipe now. Stop. I think Pete's probably laughing already about this. But this is really lovely. We've got a recipe here, or we did have. Yes, we do. The Bolo de Bolacha Maria from My Diverse Kitchen. What might we imagine is a diverse kitchen? Does it mean that all the people who work there are from different races, ethnicities, sexualities, and so on? It was an intriguing name for a website, basically, or a cookery site, My Diverse Kitchen. Let's find out more now. And I've got so many tabs open. Let me shut a few of these. Stellantis, Carlos Tavares. Yeah, he's over on Wikipedia. 1958 he was born, by the way. And he was born in Lisbon. His father was an accountant working for a French insurer, and his mother was a French teacher, which led him. He was a racing driver as a youngster. And he was working at the Estoril circuit, loved cars, obviously, and he studied at the Lycée Français in Lisbon and then went to live in France. And the rest is history, as he became CEO of some major brands, Renault being one of them, and then ultimately Stellantis there. But enough about you for the moment, Carlos Tavares. Let's talk about the Bolo de Bolacha. Is that on your screen yet? Yes, it is. Fantastic. Would you or wouldn't you? And I think this is beautifully done here by the vegetarian blog. That's why it's a diverse kitchen. Birthdays, says Aparna Balasubramanian, forgive me, is the blogger here. Birthdays deserve to be celebrated with something sweet. It's generally cake, but I didn't want the typical frosted cake for mine, says Aparna. Our daughter had planned to bake one for me, but she was a bit unwell, so I decided to make myself a bolo de bolacha Maria. And this is the Maria biscuit, of course, that is the main component of this recipe. I think that's done beautifully there. I'm not sure. That doesn't look like a very edible leaf on the top there. It looks a bit waxy. It looks a bit like a bay leaf to me, maybe only for decoration. Bolo de bolacha Maria loosely translates as cake of Maria biscuits. It does what it says on the tin. And funnily enough, is a biscuit cake. It is not your typical oven-baked cake, but a no-bake refrigerator cake. So there you go. If you're suffering with a power cut, this is your ideal cake. An outage, this is the outage cake. The Portuguese brought their cuisine with them to Goa. So a lovely little reference there to the Portuguese presence in Goa. Then these took on Goan identities when the local Catholics adopted and adapted them. The bolo de bolacha Maria is one of them. This Maria biscuit cake is similar to the Italian tiramisu. Yes, that's fair, isn't it? And it is made of alternate layers of Maria biscuits, or Marie biscuits as they're sometimes known as well, dunked in coffee and a creamy butter cream. Very nice. The Marie biscuit, or Maria biscuit, was created in London, as we discovered earlier this week, in the 1870s, not even the 1970s, but the 1870s, everybody, to commemorate the marriage of the Grand Duchess Maria Alexandrovna of Russia to the Duke of Edinburgh. It became popular throughout Europe and later in its colonies too. They're called Maria biscuits in some parts of the world, including Portugal. Marie biscuits are tea biscuits, which means they don't become soggy when dunked in tea. I didn't know that was the official definition of a tea biscuit. However, if you do leave your Marie or Maria biscuit in your tea too long, you do get that phenomenon where it becomes soggy and drops off, and then you need to get another one to fish it out before it sinks to the bottom, and you're left with a Marie sludge in the bottom of your teacup. They're also not very sweet and very mild flavored. It's a very popular tea time biscuit in India. I didn't know that. And we also make quite a few desserts with them. Well, there you go. You learn something every day here on the Good Morning Portugal show. We in India tend to tease the Parsis about their love for eggs. It seems the same with the Portuguese and their sobremesa or desserts. True that. Most Portuguese desserts tend to depend very heavily on eggs, and the traditional version is no different. The Goan version of this cake is usually egg-free. I make that version, but with a whipped buttercream. The buttercream can be flavored with just vanilla extract, or you can add a little unsweetened cocoa powder. These are the usual flavors, but you can use anything that works well with coffee. And there's a section of it. That is beautifully done. That is the bolo de bolacha, the Maria biscuit cake. And I won't read all the recipe, but I think you get the idea there that it's layer upon layer of, it's like a lasagna, and it's a sweet lasagna. And that's been made by Aparna there. You put a layer of buttercream, and then you put in a Maria biscuit, which has been soaked in coffee, and then more buttercream, then another Maria. And I think she's got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers of Maria biscuits. And that's then slathered with the buttercream and then put in the fridge to finish. And then you can eat that straight from the fridge. So there you go. I will put that recipe. If you're inspired to try that over this weekend, that's going into the comments right now. Thank you very, very much for that, Aparna, from the Diverse Kitchen, a vegetarian blog. Good stuff. Right. Okay. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. It looks... Hold on a minute. What's this? It looks good, but everything vegetarian, it would be improved by bacon. I think, Pete, that is one thing that probably wouldn't be improved by bacon. Do you want bacon bits on your bolacha cake there? Probably not. Okay. Yes. Continuing. Thank you for that update on the wildfires there, Antonio. It was pretty grisly last week, wasn't it? And yes, you're also mentioning the fire of cars in that unofficial car park, as it turned out. And it was started by a 23-year-old Mercedes. Electric cars have been vindicated and cleared from this inquiry. That was terrible. Thankfully, no loss of human life, but millions, I suspect, in car value gone there. and we weren't able to ascertain if they were insured or not. Goa is brilliant. Going back to Goa, because that's where this cake recipe came from, by the sound of it, is brilliant for Christmas. They really go to town, just like any Portuguese party. Yes, the Portuguese influence in Goa, isn't that amazing? And I did know a lady called De Souza. Now I understand why, who was from Goa. Her parents were. Looks like oleander on that cake. Yes, you don't want to be putting oleander in any recipe, do you? Hope not, because it's toxic and potentially fatal if ingested. Yeah, and it can inflame your hands when you're working with it in the garden as well. Oh, the lawyer joke has brought Rui Correa out of the woodwork this morning. Good morning to you, Rui. How are you? 1 packet of Marie biscuits, 1 packet of tiny marshmallows, 1 pack of tiny fudge pieces, and 200 grams of chocolate. That will make a good rocky road. I use caramel chocolate, mostly my favorite. Oh, Jackie, how could you? And this happens every time I talk about such things. I become very hungry, and I think, why did I start talking about that? It's the same with booze, with wine, and with food here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Not next Monday, but the one after, because it's a 5th Monday next Monday, but the first Monday of next month of October, which it will be not long from now, we are looking at his and hers rosés, if you want to join us for that. And very heavily with sugar. Yeah, not just the eggs, but the sugar as well. Good morning to you, Algarve Laura Puntin. And Verdad Rui, I was married to one for 10 years, financially beneficial, but soul destroying. I'm sure there are better reviews of being married to a lawyer than that one. Translation moment for North Americans. Biscuit is cookie, scone. Oh, dear, here we go. Morning, Sarah. Okay. We can't call it a Maria cookie. I won't do that. You'll have to translate that inside your own head. Scone is exactly, Jackie. Scone is a cake, not a biscuit. And as for your cornbread, that's a dessert, not something you have with your main course. I had a scone the other day, and it was like a baking soda biscuit to me. Look, okay. When there's you see, if there's any good reason for a one world government, this would be it. I'm not a big fan of one world governments, but if it can sort this sort of thing out, you bring it on. Yes or no are reasonable answers for most things in life. However, lawyers, you find, I think he's a bit bitter. Rui, what happened? 500,000 variants, and even create another few thousand words along with politicians to get their way. Funnily enough, a lot of certainly in Portugal, a lot of people in politics are lawyers, are they not? Rui, good morning to you. And Antonio F. Yes, Goa was ruled by the Portuguese for some 450 years. Amazing, isn't it? What we discover here. Along with that discovery yesterday, when was the metric system, the decimal system introduced in Portugal? In the 19th century. That was a real shocker to me. And no one world government, please. I'll adapt. Okay, I have my way. Fantastic. Yeah, one world governments. Nah. Probably run by lawyers, right? Okay, where were we? Portuguese point of interest. I'm going to tell you about next week's, and we'll have a nice little movie now of last week. So let's go to Setúbal, which is where we've been this week. You may have noticed from the opening sequence, and I want to put onto the screen for you a very relaxing and lovely video, promotional video from Setúbal. These are the sort of things that get me copyright strikes on YouTube. But in the interests of education and entertainment and telling you about this wonderful country, quite frankly, I do not care. So let's go to Setúbal now. The blue... Just pausing for a moment. It's like whale music in this. And this is a moment to grab your cup of tea or coffee and sit back and relax and enjoy this. That was really relaxing, wasn't it? Amazing. I didn't make it, and I'm likely to get a copyright infringement on that. But I share it in the interest of well, sharing my passion for Portugal and specifically there, Setúbal. Yeah, it's so relaxing. What did they put in that music or that video? There was something there, wasn't there? You know, like in some um, pubs or wine bars, it seems like the alcohol is more effective and powerful. Where was I when that happened to me? Yeah, storytellers. I had one Imperial at lunchtime in storytellers on Wednesday, and I got so giddy. I'm sure there's an additive that some places put in. I think it's like a conviviality, a homeopathy of conviviality in the booze. And there was something about that video, wasn't there, that was very beautiful. Amazing video, you say, Sarah, and you're meant to be there astrologically. That's interesting, isn't it? That's your place. Don't leave us here, and very entertaining as well, says the OLP. Yeah, very special. Setúbal there. That's been our Portuguese place of interest, and if you're a Portugal Club member, if you support us, then you've got access to the Portugal Club. I've added quite a few extra pieces about Setúbal if you want to find out more. So let me put the link for that, including going back actually. Katia Lima, she had a day trip there, and there's a link to that because she's added one or two bits to our Portugal Club as well. So yeah, more as our Portuguese point of interest for this week. Shall we compare and contrast that to Tamar? Because let's have this is like the X factor of promotional videos for towns. Let's go to Mars now. There you go. That was the link for if you want to know more about Setúbal in the Portugal Club there, as I think some of you might want to do, judging by the comments on the screen. So let's look at Tamar's video now. Oh, Mrs. M. I will be drinking the grapefruit fermentation. Do you think I should?
Yeah, do it live on air so I can see it now.
Do it live on air so I can. What now?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to do it as the climax of the show in case in case you need to call a paramedic.
Can you call me?
I will call you. Are you the family going to watch while I drink this accidental fermentation? Have you been speaking to Nuna about life insurance? You're topping up my shot glass now.
No, I'm going to try it first. So if I collapse.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you might be back on the slippery slope if you have some of that.
Tell the children I love them.
Tell the children I love them, she says. Okay, this is Tamar's promotional.
Tomar.
Oh, it's free.
Bela por
Oh,
natureza.
hold on a minute, Portuguese lady. When I share videos, actually, no, you can hear me. I think you can still hear me.
Don't take a big gulp of it.
Why? Is it a bit ropey, a bit rough? Is it aguardent, basically,
No.
made on the windowsill?
I've spat it into my hand.
She spat it out. Right, okay. Hit that like button, folks. Thank you, Antonia, for that. Where were we? Yes, frequency music. There was something in there, wasn't there? Some embedded goodness in that music. Let's see if Tamar have done the same thing here with their promotional video. Head to head. Who wins in this tournament here? As we say, bon fin de semana to you as we go into the weekend here, as we round out another week. and it wasn't so relaxing. But I mean, Tomar is an amazing place, and that will be our Portuguese point of interest for next week. So, two brilliant videos, just two amazing places here in Portugal there, and there are many, many more for us. It's 10 o'clock. I'm just going to do a quick few events. You make a good point, Antonio. 22 people watching and only 8. I think there are more people watching. I'm not sure those numbers are so great. And most people watch this show later. And that's I wanted to say hi to you, specifically if you're watching later on and you're not watching live, please say hi. And then I can read out your message tomorrow, or send me a message on 913-590-303. And please be part of things. If you can't be part of it live, at least leave a message, and we'll connect with you through time in that way. So send a message, put something on the screen on YouTube, or send me a message on 913-590-303. I am going to hang around a bit longer because I've got to drink this, I want to, in a funny sort of way, drink this grapefruit fermentation that my son made for me accidentally. Before we do that, let's go through Andy's picks for the weekend. The Festa das Vindimas, a lot of great picking going on, of course, at the moment at the Museum José Luciano de Castro. That's a great little museum in Anadia. Also, these are in the Bairrada, of course, until we have a challenge from other parts of the country. 26 sparkling wine producers are confirmed, 20 from the Bairrada, 3 from outside the region, and 3 international producers for the Espumant Sparkling Wine Party. That will be great. Fizz does the biz. That's going to be a lot of fun in Oia. 28th of September tomorrow, Festival of the Bacalheiros at the Udinho Gardens in Gafanha de Nazaré in Ilhavo, Aveiro. Also, Sunday this weekend, festival in Sousa, near Vagos in Aveiro as well. All of these on the GuMPer map, as you can see. That's these are screenshots from the GuMPer map, which you can find via goodmorningportugal.com. Visit the iconic seaside town of Costa Nova with its stripy houses and sandy beaches. You can do that, and this is ongoing. It started on the 26th, ends on the 30th. That's Monday, isn't it? A festival at the beach on Costa Nova. There is an iconic part of Portugal, of course. That would also be a brilliant video. Festival in Amoreira de Gandara in the Bairrada. Lots happening here in Amoreira de Gandara. Traditional folk dancing, communal lunch, oriental dancing, and pyrotechnics. No Zumba. And just a couple more. Commemoration of the Battle of Busaco that we found out about this morning. Thanks for that. In Luzon, Motagua, and Panacova. Commemoration of the battle, and 214 years, as Antonio F. said to us, the French defeat during their third invasion there. So a commemoration of such. And that's from today until tomorrow. And finally, International VW Festival. There you go. For those of you VW fans in our community, get along to these fun and interesting events in Sangalhos. Yeah, where the fantastic underground museum is. Aliança's underground museum is superb. You don't have to be a VW fan, as there are lots of other things going on to keep you entertained, fed and watered, says Andy. Bye, Andy, superb. Thank you very much for that. We'll come back to Louise and her alternative to Amazon, I think, on Monday. Good morning to you, Louise. And a final, a couple more things, actually. Veg from the neighbour's garden. This could be its own feature. This is what happens in Portugal. It's a lovely big beetroot at the top there. I think that's what it is. And plenty of lovely tomatoes. Look at your tomatoes, which you have to be careful saying that in Portuguese. And then a smattering of cars from the rally that's going to be happening over your way. That's also in Figueira dos Vinhos, isn't it? Where we showed our property of the week. These beautiful cars are going to be in a rally in that area. Thanks, Bill, for sending these in. And look, I used to have one of those. Mine had a flip back top on it and a very rusty bottom. Who doesn't like? Yes, a Renault 5, I believe, and with a dashboard stick shift. Happy times. Especially when my mum got in and had the umbrella up whilst it was raining because the convertible roof leaked. Right, umbrella up in the car. Oh, yes. Right, final word then. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And yeah, if you're watching later and you're not watching live, do send us a message. Say hi, and we'll say hi to you in the live session here with the regular GuMPers who've made this a great session this morning. And, of course, I hope we'll be back to join us next Monday when we're talking to James, of course, and Sarah from Shumbaria, an update from Shumbaria. Or Shumbaria. I think it's Shumbaria, isn't it? We'll talk to Sarah about the progress over there. And the doc might join us because he's friends with Sarah there. Amazing progress over that lovely, lovely community there in the Leiria district. Final word then. Thanks, Owen. Life's richest treasures lie not in our wallets, but in the moments we share, the laughter we echo, and the dreams we chase under an endless sky. Wherever you are in Portugal, have a lovely weekend. A bon fin semana under this blue and endless sky here in Portugal. Have a good one, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye for now. Gumper dust on you. Oh no, that is Owen.
I wanna watch the sunrise, but I'm laying in my bed.
There he is under the endless sky, and let's put some Gumper dust on you for the weekend. Blessings on you.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, GuMPers.